So Curtis has been making content, like, let's switch to oldest. So he's been making consistent content for 11 years. So
Wow.
he's like he's a really consistent creator and he's got a really dedicated fan base. So he could post a thumbnail of paint drying and it probably would get, 1 million views in a couple of days. So he is like an amazing, amazing talented creator with a really dedicated following. But to critique, like, here's a good example, this Barbie versus Bratz thumbnail
Yeah.
here. Um, that I made a thumbnail that was also called Barbie versus Bratz for him. It was like a follow-up to this one. And so you can really see a difference between the two. So one of the things here is that outline around his, around him is kind of a dated look. The exposure is all over the place. And the detail, like the text is too small in certain areas. And the composition, though it's pretty good, is not it doesn't have any like leading lines. It feels very thrown together and very amateur. But I will say this style of creator, which is called the commentary niche on YouTube, they kind of live in that DIY kind of thrown together world. And so when the majority of my clients for a long time were like this. They were in the commentary niche, and you kind of want it to have a certain level of crappiness intentionally. And so I'm never making it look like a real photo. I'm always making it feel handmade, but there's a level of finesse and elevation to it that kind of make sure that all the fundamentals are in place, but still keeps that DIY aesthetic. So I'm going to go up to my Barbies and Brats thumbnail. So there you go. So here's my version of the same thumbnail, Barbie versus Bratz 3. You can see that there.
Yep.
So again, we're taking a lot of the same elements in terms of the composition and the layout, but I simplified the posters. There was text all over those posters, but I cleaned it up using Genfill. I used a color that, kind of matched. So we've got the same pinks, we got the same purples, the same blues. So there's like a real color balance to it. The exposure on Curtis's face is clear and straightforward. And then I also took those movie posters and pointed them in to his head to give it a 3D effect so that those leading lines is what it's called are going into his face. And so again, when you compare it to the original one, which was down here, you can automatically see kind of the difference between the two, right? So
Yeah,
I think that's
absolutely.
that's a good example of that, I guess. I actually
Mm.
do a whole breakdown on that on my other channel. Let's see. I did a whole like breakdown. You can see my process on that particular thumbnail. So here's yeah, so here's the actually this is a I can just walk you guys through this. I'll play the video and you can see that's the original asset for that thumbnail, the Barbies versus Bratz thumbnail. And you can see
Yep.
when I do the generative fill or the subject selection tool in Photoshop, it's using AI to select Curtis. But you can see some little issues with the hair. And so using Gen Fill, we clean that up. Let's see. I think I do it around, yeah, right here. So check this out right here. I take my little mouse and I get to it in a second, sorry. I take my little mouse and you can see how the hair is like it adds the edges to the hair using AI. So that's like I'm using AI constantly for cleanup purposes. So like it totally fixes edges and I don't know what I'm doing here with the video's a little too fast edited, I think. But um and then you can see too my process with the leading lines. Like that's what I was starting with. You can see how I'm using Genfill to clean up the text on the car so that you can see that if I pause it. So that's what the Barbie poster looked like before on the left. And then using Genfill, I was able to extend out the car there and remove the text, which cleans it up. You don't want to have any unnecessary text or anything that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
I think I did the same thing for the Bratz thing. I got rid of the TM logo there and everything. Um, yeah, and then I also like I did a little video edit where at the intro of his video, this was my idea to Curtis is like, what if you like said your intro and it matched the thumbnail like literally. So this is a example of me animating a little segment that's actually the intro of the video. So it's like the thumbnail comes to life. And I reveal that to Curtis, and he really liked it. So there he is on FaceTime. I was showing him the thumbnail. So you could check out my video later. But anyways, I think I was rambling a little too much there, but it's a really powerful tool. Gen Fill is what it's called in Photoshop, generative fill, and it's just gotten better and better. I think I made this video like about a little over a year ago, so it's continually getting better, and it's a very powerful tool because you can isolate certain areas of your image, tell it, type in things like fix the hair, remove this object, whatever, and you can directly communicate to the AI. And what I love about it is it's like object aware, or like camera lens and color science aware is what I say. Meaning, like, if I were to generate an object using Midjourney or Google Nano Banana and then bring it into my composition, it's not going to know the color and the way that the light was positioned in that photo or whatever, or the way that the camera looks. But when I do it inside of Photoshop and I isolate certain areas and say, remove this object or extend this thing, it's actually taking into account the color, the lens that the camera was using, the bokeh, like, which is the blurry background behind a camera. And it really, really looks like it's in camera basically, instead of adding something in from a separate tool. So anyways, it's a very, very powerful tool. And I think anybody who hasn't played around with Photoshop should give it a try. That's why we started Thumbnail Academy, me and my business partners, Dil Toma and Antioch. They're some of the biggest thumbnail designers in the world. They work for creators such as Dude Perfect and FaZe Rug and many others. We have over 10 billion views of experience between the three of us. And we're teaching everything we know with these tools. And I haven't even touched the surface on FreePick, which is our main tool. But check out Thumbnail Academy if you want to learn more. It's where we teach everything, because now there's really no like barrier of entry. It's really gotten to a point where you just need to learn how to use these tools and learn why. That's the big one, is like understand the why to get the click. Right now, AI is not replacing the YouTube strategy knowledge that's required to be good at YouTube, but it is replacing the work of a lot of tedious hours that used to be spent designing things in Photoshop.
If you want to watch the entire episode, click here. And if you want to watch more episodes like this, click here.